Hey everyone, and thanks for joining me on another episode. If you've seen my previous episodes, then you know that I'm creating a video series or documenting kind of my journey of going from the time that I quit my job into becoming more self-employed, taking my own leap and getting involved with real estate, looking for other business ventures that I can do on the side, and really looking for ways that I'm just able to become a self-employed individual and doing the things that it is that I want to do for enjoyment. I figured this would be a good episode, though, to kind of go over the reactions I got from people when I told them, either I was thinking about leaving my job, that I did quit my job, or that anything along those lines. Because ultimately, the reactions I would say I've been getting from people have been consistent. Just depends on the timing, as when I was asking them, that seems to be the biggest thing that's changed. So if you saw my first video, you know that this is something that I thought about for well over a year before actually putting it into place and taking the action to leave my job. So it was something that I thought about for a while, and honestly I was pretty open about it amongst my peers as well as my family or friends or parents or aunts, uncles, all of that. I was pretty open about that I didn't like the job I was in and was kind of indicating that I was looking for something better or a better opportunity for me. When I first started telling my friends and family, well, I guess I'll start with my parents and, older people like, aunts, uncles, friends, parents, things like that. When I mentioned to them that, I'm working in finance right now, initially they're all like, oh, that's fantastic. And it's like, yeah, but I don't really like my job. And I think that there's probably going to be a better opportunity out there for me. And a lot of times you got the reaction of, or I got the reaction of, oh, that's how everyone starts off. You're, just following along the way everybody else does. It's pretty normal for you to hate your first job, but just stick it out for 5 years and it'll be fine. Or, just wait till you get your first promotion at the company and then I'm sure you'll like it more. And if that doesn't work, you can always jump to another finance company because the work's going to be the same, which that is not true at all. The work you'll do at any company is going to change regardless of your role, position. If you're doing the exact same thing, it's going to have different requirements. So don't ever think that just because you go to another company that it's going to be, the same job just under a different title. So a lot of people were telling me to stick it out, and that was something I already did. When I was in college, I had an operations management teacher that told us, and it was something I took personally with me. He said, for your very first job that you get, you should stick it out for a year, regardless of how much you hate it. If it's not causing you any harm or anything like that, stick it out for a year because that will show your future employers or the next ones coming in line that you can stick it out, regardless of how much you like the job, regardless of if you loved it, hated it. Showing a year's worth of commitment at a young age just shows the right kind of dedication towards those employers. So that is something that I held on to me. Actually, I ended up sticking it out for 3 years at the same company. So, I did give it a shot and I gave it everything that I could. At the same time, though, so let's just kind of go back about a year and a half ago, when I would mention this to my friends that I was interested in quitting my job, the reactions I would get from them or people my age would say like, oh yeah, me too, I hate my job, it sucks, I want to go back to college, what's going on here? Or the other reaction I would get is, okay, well, we've had this conversation again, and I'm sure when I ask you again in 6 months, you'll still be working at the same place. So overall, initially, the responses, feedbacks, you name it, that I would get from people was not anything too positive or moving, but it wasn't negative either. It was more of just like yeah, we've all been there before, and you'll figure it out, or you'll do something different, which isn't really necessarily my style. I am totally about just going ahead and figuring it out, but I'm not going to sit and wait to figure it out, or wait for that answer to come to me. I'm going to go to the answer before that happens, if that makes sense. Which is something I need to stop saying. I've noticed in a lot of these videos I say if that makes sense a lot. Ultimately, though, one of the things that gave me the push, though, to just really transition into saying I'm doing this was I heard a quote from Jim Rohn. I'm not going to say it specifically, I'm sure I'm going to butcher it somehow, but he says something along the lines of, you shouldn't get paid for the time that you're putting into the job, rather the value that you're creating for this company. Well, as what I was doing in my role, I was bringing in, give or take over the time that I was there, I brought over about $300 million to the company, averaged about 3 enrollments into a paid service every day. So I brought this company a lot of business. And I didn't get any compensation or any kind of recognition for the amount of work that I put in, other than maybe like a $500 bonus each year, or or $500 increase in my pay at the end of the year for that money. Where I know had I done that at another company, even if I saw a percent of, $300 million, that'd be awesome. And I probably would have still been there because that's something to work towards. But when you spend so much time trying to get new business or build relationships with new clients and get them involved into why your company is the best one for them to be investing with, and then the company's like, thanks, we got it from here, go get somebody else for us, I realized that I was putting in too much time and creating too much value and wasn't being compensated for the value that I've created for them. And so when I heard that quote by Jim Rohn, I realized, I think that if I were to either look elsewhere or better yet, do this for myself, I can make so much more money. And I don't necessarily have to do financial sales. I can do, I'm exploring real estate for right now, and then maybe even doing like business sales or you name it. I mean, sales to me isn't really the whole pushy sales tactic. I take more of a let me get to know you, and something I would get in trouble for a lot, but I didn't really care, is if I didn't feel what I was selling was a good fit for that person, I had absolutely no problem saying, I don't think this is the best match for you. Here's why, and list ABC why I don't think it's a good fit, but wish them the best of luck moving forward. And I think that goes a long way in sales, because that's how I was able to build those relationships, give people that level of trust that, I'm here to help, I'm not here to take your money. And ultimately, that is what boosted my sales numbers, was just being able to get that relationship with people. So, sorry for the little tangent right there, but that's just kind of my background, sales tactic, all that stuff. Now, with that said, when I did finally make the move and say, you know what, I'm out of here, I quit, and then started telling everybody around me, much to my, positive surprise, was everybody was surprisingly very supportive about it. I definitely expected to get some negative feedback, like, oh, what are you doing now? Nothing? You're not doing anything? Or, oh, so does that mean you're working for another company? But when I would tell people I quit, I'm studying for real estate right now, I'm just looking to kind of take that path towards being an entrepreneur, friends and family and adults, or, people older than myself, I guess I am an adult these days, were very positive about it. They were like, this is something we've known you wanted to do for a while. You've been telling us that for so long. You're 25. Now's the best time for you to go ahead and take that leap. Don't wait any longer. And, certainly been very supportive, which I'm very thankful for and very appreciative of, because not saying I'm going to let one person's reaction drag me down, but had I been receiving more negative responses after telling them or informing them about what I'm doing, it just wouldn't be as easy of a transition, or I wouldn't feel as comfortable knowing that I'm in the right path, doing the right thing for this. So that's something I've been very appreciative of, and I honestly can say I've only gotten one negative feedback really since I've quit the job. I'll go ahead and share the story. So, and it's not even really negative, but I was out the other night just talking with some people, met some new guy, and we were just kind of talking. I was like, what do you do for a living? He's like, I'm a real estate agent. I was very interested. I said, are you licensed in South Carolina, North Carolina? He's licensed in both. I was telling him about my experiences, what I'm doing, and basically at the end of that conversation, he handed me his business card and said, well, I know you're looking for a house, so when you're done with the basically said, you're not going to make it. Here's my card. Call me when you need to buy a house. And I'll be honest, that was not a good sales pitch for him, nor is that something that I would ever do personally. But again, that's not something I'm going to take to heart. I was even kind of hesitant right there, just even telling the story. But I could say that has been actually the most negative feedback I've received from this entire journey. So that's been pretty helpful too, as well, to know that just somebody that I just met, an hour before, saying you're not going to make it, handing me their card, is totally fine, because I don't really know them. They don't know me. Can't really make a judgment off an hour-long conversation. So, I feel pretty confident about the decision that I made. I feel comfortable with the decision that I made, and just have a good feeling that things are going to work out. More or less, my kind of nerves comes into play when I realize that I don't have a source of income, yet I have bills to pay and everything in between there. So that's kind of the thing that has me the most nervous. But instead of just sitting there being worried about it, I'm working on just figuring out how I can make it all work, or how I can get a source of income without taking away time from my real estate studies, or, without putting too much time away from it, even if I have to take, a few hours a day doing something online. Or it'd be super awesome if these YouTube videos would make me some money, but that's kind of where I am now. And again, just kind of a quick video today. I more or less wanted to share this because I wanted to provide the consistent updates with where I've been. I know it's been about 2 weeks since I've just provided an update. Last week I talked more about finance, but just wanted to share. I'm still here. I'm still studying. As you can see, I've got the big old textbook right here, and more or less I'm just taking a break from studying right now to be making this video. But you know, as always, I'll be happy to share any information that you might be looking for me. If you want to hear more about, how I quit my job, or if you have any questions for me about finance things that I might be able to go over with. Quick disclaimer with finance stuff, again, I just won't give any specific recommendations, but happy to address any questions you have for me, or, would be happy to just make sure that you have a good understanding if you're about to invest in something, and make sure you fully understand the ways that it works. So if you ever have any kind of questions about that, or any videos you think that I should make that be beneficial for you, just let me know and I'll be happy to make that for you. I'm sure that just me giving updates as to kind of where I am in this process isn't really anything too exciting, so I'd like to make something more exciting. Also quickly, I apologize if the quality of this video here is a little bit lower of a quality. I started filming this and my camera died in the middle of it. So I'm using my webcam and I'm using my little handy dandy microphone. And you can see right here, hopefully that didn't create too much noise when I did that right there. But just doing that to provide some updates here. So hopefully the next video will be better quality. Hopefully one day I'll get to see something a little bit more than just my random talk tangents. But if there's anything that I can address for you, any questions you have for me, anything you think that I should be including, please let me know. I also tried my best to work on a cool little intro for these. So little things along the way. I'm sure that they'll get better as we move forward, and hopefully I'll start to have some better content for you as we move forward. But thanks again for joining me, and I really appreciate your time.